Go. Hey, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to one and all. This is our sixth episode of the BRM Brown Bag session. I'm your host, Suresh GP. I'm extremely glad to have today with us Miao Song, CIO of Mars Pet Care. And welcome, Miao Song. You have moved from Singapore to Belgium. So, hope everything is settling down in the new year.
Thank you, Suresh. First, Happy New Year and best wishes to everybody. And 2021, as we can imagine, probably doesn't start as good as we expect. But I do want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a healthy, safe, and energetic 2021, foreseeing what's ahead of us. Yeah, so let's get started with that. I'm very
Excellent.
happy to talk about BRM capability and share my personal thoughts on how BRM role evolves from time to time.
Excellent. So for viewers, Miyasan, give us a quick background of your career and your association with BRM. I mean, I know you make a lot of changes around within your own organizations, but give us a bird's eye view of your career journey and what is your interest around the BRM space.
Sure. My current role is Global Chief Information Officer for Mars Pet Care Business. It's a global company focused on pet nutrition, pet food, and healthcare for pets. I've been in the role for more than 3 years. Prior to Mars, I spent some time with Johnson& and Johnson, one of the largest healthcare company in the world in Asia Pacific. I was CIO for J&J Medical for a few years. A lot of my career was actually spent with Lloyd at Shell. I spent more than 14 years with Shell managing local, regional, and global roles in different geographies, all the way from Asia to Europe and back to Asia. And prior to Shell, I actually worked with Nestle. I was probably one of the first local IT hire within Nestle, China, a long time ago. And at that time, obviously, there wasn't even a concept of a BRM, so I did everything. So my career path was primarily one thing I really appreciate is not just I focus on certain role and move into that career ladder around one role, but I'm fortunate that I had experience of working in different areas and domains and different industries in the past 20 years, including infrastructure, application, project management, strategy setting, and also business interface role, but broadly having a broader experience of different roles before, which I thought was very, very beneficial. And also, I think that links to the BRM conversation we have today.
Excellent. In terms of when you look at BRMs, how do you think the BRMs, the business relationship managers, drive that strategic engagement with the key stakeholders?
Yeah, so it's evolving journey, I would say. So if you think about years ago when this role was created, it was based on the largest enterprise model. In the ideal IT situation, IT world, you have core services where you manage application infrastructure support, and you have different areas. You have EA, enterprise architecture, and then you have some delivery COE, center of excellence. Then BRM was created to primarily for a few things. One is driving strategic conversation with the business to understand the business priority and align IT priority with the business priority. Second one is really define the IT strategy, core capabilities, and in charge of developing a roadmap to be rolled out in different geographies or different markets. The third one is probably financial management, have the play an integrated role to manage IT investment and IT operating spend. Last but not least is this BRM is actually in charge of being seen as I would say sort of account manager role, if you like. He or she is a go-to person for the business to go for if there is a problem of IT services, It's a problem of IT strategy or capability. I think that was created years ago based on that concept. But I do see from time to time, specific with in the past few years, the huge rapid development in the technology space. Now technology is not separate, so it's part of the business. Every company is a technology company. Technology and digital are the core of every single business nowadays. Therefore, I think the requirement of BRM is very, very different. I see BRM traditionally seen as a interface role, engagement type of role, but now I think we need more BRM to be hands-on instead of hands-off. So the value of coordinating across different groups is not as big as it has 5 years ago. So I
Absolutely.
think that's a major change. And then therefore the requirement, I would say the bar of BRM role is high, is much higher than years ago.
Yeah, and it brings that point of convergence, isn't it? Where every function are converge into one single integrated business, which is helping us to deliver business value. You've been an IT BRM, you've done a lot of things in your career as part of doing it. What do you think? How has the BRM role evolved from time to time? Is it something, and I know we talked about 5 years before how it was to what it is there. Is there any specific aspects that you've seen very much pronounced in in these years, and particularly with the new norm? How does the role of the BRM evolve in terms of value?
Yeah, so one of the things it changed so much is I think is the way of working. For example, if you think about more than 5 years ago, BRM sit there and when the business place a business request, BRM ticket and the BRM say, hey, I have COE, I have other project management team or delivery team, they're gonna do it. So BRM is seen as a go-to person, purely go-to person, and he or she are now doing driving the project or delivery or even development of software itself. But with the involvement, specifically I see in the space is really around speed and the different way of working. For example, in the agile environment, agile development or DevOps, where the way of working has been changed from project management into our digital product management, which many organizations are doing to drive speed. In this digital product based organization, it's a different way of working. It's daily scrum. It's fast. It's release new features and change on daily basis. So the BRM has to shift. I think shift from just being the go-to person, generalist into more functional. I don't even call it functional business expertise who should be actively involved in the digital product team, either managing digital product development or managing business requirement analysis or driving the project, or even involving application testing, the new feature testing, or come out with new ideas to shape and to challenge the status quo. So that's why I see fundamentally the change of BRM. In fact, I even think about the name of BRM will be evolved as well because it's not just relation manager. So relation manager is only account management. If the account management has some value, but the value is not as big as it used to be 5 years ago because of rapid development tech and digital space, and partially driven by commoditization of the technology. Nowadays everything is a subscription model, almost everything SaaS. You have API, you have mobile, you have AI, machine learning, all the new tech that help to help the organization develop digital solution very, very different. So we're talking about different game nowadays.
Sure. And most of the times when I talk with people, people think that BRM is a role more about client facing. And I think about 80% of the companies which I've seen has business relationship manager, more internal focus. So what is your take around that? People think that, well, it is not that lucrative. It looks to be we are not client in facing, but that's so important that you have to make sure your shop within your house is tidy before you can actually do things outside.
Yeah, see so I can talk about broadly what is the requirement of IT organization, expectation to the IT organization overall. not just BRM, to be honest. I think the expectation to the IT organization has been changed quite different compared with years ago. You think about 10 years ago, right? When you talk about customer in the IT organization, they often refer to the end user within the organization. It's very inward looking, very internal focused conversation. But with all the change, either in tech space or the industry space, customer, consumer changing their behaviors with all of these new things. And it is hard to maintain a client-facing role just internally, inward looking, because it doesn't add value in reality. So as a result, the BRM role has to be external focused, really understanding, have the right understanding of end consumer and customer, not internal customer. So I would, as a CIO, personally, I would really hate somebody talk about customers still referring to the internal customer alone. I think that's really missing, or even the old-fashioned way of looking at the involvement and ignore the involvement of tech and business. So one of the critical skill sets of BRM is really understanding of the solution, very deep functional domain knowledge in the areas, including the technology solution, all the solutions. It's not going to be you scratch the surface. You have to go deep to be able to have the right conversation on technology, business processes, data, everything. If you don't have that, you can't even have the right conversation anymore. It's going to be like, what's the difference between the BRM and anybody in the organization? I'm putting this view there because I see this space strongly evolving very, very fast. And secondly, I think a successful BRM has to have experience of working in different areas. I mean, primarily probably understanding of the solution. That's super important. Even doing some coding or software development is very important nowadays.
And in terms of IT,
Sorry,
one of the things that you did talk about is the more of an IT BRM. But do you see more BRMs for, let's say, HR BRM, marketing as a BRM? Do you see BRMs getting emerged for lines of business that helps them to serve things? For example, when I'm trying to be a part of financial services, I really want to design a claim reimbursement application. So, but I need to get some input. So do you see also BRMs evolving more than just the IT BRM, also domain specific and also line of business in the organization that you work with? Or is it more and more of IT BRMs that you see?
Yes, it's already beyond IT. So I can share with you, it's already happened. So I think typically in the functional area like HR, finance, human, etc. Many organizations already have BRM role in those areas. They don't call it BRM. Typically, they could call it business partner of an area, but it's happening because partially driven by the transactional outsourced. Just to give example, many organizations, global organizations, specific set up their shared service center to manage transactional business in finance, finance, procurement, HR, etc. So the focus for the BRM in those areas is not like I get payroll right anymore. It's just like, not even the question anymore. So they're focused around engaging with the core business, key business, and setting up the right strategy. I take HR example. The BRM is really for HR, BRM focusing, setting up the right talent strategy, competence strategy for the organization. It's more like leading way of thinking around focus on right thing, truly on human resources, right? Not just stuck every day on getting hiring process right, getting payroll right. So that's not the game anymore. It's similar to finance area. I see this area continuously evolving. Very similar to the IT BRM conversation. To be successful, the BRMs in those areas really have to understand what are the new trends, what is the key strategy, what is the business challenges, and how you can create, kind of leapfrog the capability, but also continuously driving change and transformation in those spaces. That for me is a successful BRM role.
Excellent. And then a couple of questions would be, what kind of core skills do you think that the BRM should possess to be effective as a BRM? I know we talk about the connector, the navigator, and the orchestrator role. But truly, what kind of skills are they going to be super heroes and heroines? What kind of core skills do you think would be essential for BRMs to imbibe to do a role effectively?
First, experience. I think learning agility, understanding of the business. If you work in the customer engagement or consumer engagement area, you better understand consumer and consumer technology, or even digital marketing technology, in a very deep fashion. Not just like knowing the solution, but being able to be involved in building the solution and in the tech space. Secondly, understand the business performance, spending some time to learn the business, not on the surface, but really deeply understanding what are the opportunities and challenges, talking the business language, so that you are seen as a business person, not just like a coordinator. I think that make a difference. If you stay on the surface, always on, hey, I'm coordinating, I'm a BRM, that's not gonna make it any fundamental difference. In the end, right, with all the change of different way of working, maybe in the future we don't need BRM anymore. Why you need BRM, right? If you don't add value to the organization.
Excellent. And the last one was the career opportunities. So
Mm.
BRMs are looking at what isn't for me. What kind of career path can I focus on? Because as you rightly said, the roles are evolving with the digital age. So how do I make myself relevant? And what are the career opportunities that I can embark to add more value to the organization?
There are so many opportunities depending on individuals. If an individual is successful in BRM role, I think she or he can do many other roles. For example, working in the business as a business leader role, and or even working in a current IT organization or other organization to drive transformation, managing program, building COE, or being a functional expert, building new digital product. There's so many opportunities of a successful BRM. I think it's really individual based discussion rather than their general BRM conversation. I see also BRM can feed into the pipeline of a talent pipeline of CIO. But my personal view is that if you only do BRM role from time to time, all the way, I think you lose opportunity of being a successful CIO if you don't have experience of delivery project, COE, doing the project or doing the solution or even infrastructure. You completely missing the opportunity. I would encourage people at their early career stage in BRM role, not just looking at a CIO or other role, but also take some opportunity to learn other areas, going back to the business, visiting the customer, doing something different, which will be very, very beneficial. End of the day, the role is a role. The role will be changed. The role will be gone tomorrow. Maybe it will be completely disappear tomorrow. But individual will make difference.
I absolutely think you are a standard testimony of what you've been doing. You have played a lot of these roles and in different geographies. So it's been always a great way to get your perspective. The last final question before wind up was, in your organizations, I know you call these business relationship managers. What kind of value do you think that your people within the business relationship management profession are creating value for Mars Pet Care? How do you see them adding to the overall dimension of in the ecosystem that you are talking about today?
Yeah, so in my organization, my team, what I'm changing the title from traditional BRM or business partner into digital leader. So I called it either we call them digital technology leader or digital leader. I think this is my personal view. That's probably more leading or forward-looking title than the BRM, but the essence are still similar. I think there are a few values they bring. The first one is they are the person first, they're go-to person for the business, no brainer. The second one, they are in charge of they play integrator role of being in charge of the technology strategy, the roadmap, the business engagement. They're the go-to. They're the person in charge in IT. The third one I'm expecting is that they are the innovator. So not just the connector or coordinator. They're the innovator. They bring the new ideas of what is the art possible of technology in the business to help the business grow or driving transformation. Number four will be, I would say, operational piece is around financial management, investment plan, managing the investment plan in a holistic way. And I think this is number five will be strong business leader. So contribute to the business strategy, contribute to the business growth directly or indirectly. So that I see those five areas are the typical domain of a um, IT leader. Oh, I wouldn't call it BRM or this digital leader.
Excellent. And thanks so much, Miao Song, for sharing your valuable insights. And we're really glad that you were able to share some insights, and hope that we can inspire more BRMs to become digital leaders and drive transformation. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you. My pleasure.